All right, welcome back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. This is our GMC tweet of the night. This is from MLB Pipeline. Paul Skeens was electric in his pro debut, and you can watch the Pirates' #1 overall draft pick make his first single-A start for free tomorrow night. I'm excited about Paul Skeens. I think you're going to see him at single-A, double-A, and triple-A. But, Pony, unfortunately, I don't think you're going to see him in the big leagues this year, maybe next year, and hopefully next year for sure.
Well, I think he's going to be the Pirates' best pitcher at some point next year because
he doesn't have much
there's not a lot of competition.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, Quinn Priester looks like the last gift of the Neil Huntington regime to the Pirates fans. ERA now over 9. He doesn't throw hard. He has a good breaking ball, but it looks like guys quickly adjust to that. And now it's even worse. It's not even the first time through the lineup he does well, because I think the book is out on him and hitters know what's coming. It's not overpowering whatsoever. Luis Ortiz is still at AAA. Roansy Contreras just pitched at AAA, but his fastball was topping out at 93 miles per hour. Oviedo was bad his last start. Mitch Keller better, but still his second half has been a disappointment. They got to go with Skeens next year, and they've got to open up the checkbook. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I mean it. It has to happen now. They got to go out and sign some free agent pitchers, and not Rich Hills and not one-year rentals. They need some legitimate arms in that rotation if this team is going to compete next year, and they better, because this rebuilding thing started in 2020 with Ben Cherington, and 2024 needs to be the year that they start to turn it around.
You know, I haven't heard this anywhere, and this is just me speculating. Do you think Quinn Priester might project more as a setup guy with his type of stuff than maybe a starter?
No. I don't see him as a guy that comes in the 8th inning and blows pitches by people. You know, I know Bednar's not a 100 miles per hour guy, but still, he's an intimidator. I don't see that with Priester. You know, you might have to move him to the bullpen, Richie. I mean, maybe to your point, he's a Mark Melanson type.
Yeah,
Melanson didn't throw hard.
Not even a closer, a middle reliever, like a setup. A 6th or 7th inning guy, not a closer.
That's a last resort. I mean, if the guy that you picked in the first round is a middle innings guy, you know, that's Daniel Moscos all over again. That's Brian Bullington all over again. If that's what happens, but the early returns are not great. Let's face it, they rushed the guy, and I say they rushed because even though he got called up in July, his numbers at AAA were not good. His ERA was in the 4s. He had an average AAA stat line, and I think they were just antsy to see the guy pitch in the major leagues, and now we're finding out why he wasn't even dominant in the minor leagues this year.
Well, I was one of the ones calling for Priester to be up here. I think a lot of people were. I wanted to see it. Unfortunately, it hasn't gone the way we all had hoped. Let's go out to Bill and Plum. How you doing, Bill?
Hey, Rich.
Thanks for calling.
Can anybody
Hey, Bill.
tell me why Jack Sawinski is on this roster?
Because he leads the team in home runs.
Yeah. Do you think he's their future center fielder? I mean, for the next couple years, 3 years?
I actually have been impressed by the way he plays center field defensively. He actually runs down balls a lot better than I thought he would when they made that move at the start of the year and took Reynolds out of center field. So I could see it. I mean, his numbers have teetered off. I would anticipate that means around Labor Day he'll get red hot again and hit about 5 home runs in a week, because that's what he always does. He'll finish with very respectable numbers. He's not meant to be their best player. We're finally seeing Brian Reynolds look like that. It's encouraging that Ke'Bryan Hayes has come off the injured list and really hit, and he has found some power with a tweak in his mechanics. You know, that's the way it's supposed to be. If Jack Sawinski hits 30 home runs, hits 215, but is like your 4th or 5th best hitter, that's a real major league lineup. The problem is that for most of this year, Jack Sawinski is needed to be the Pirates' best hitter and biggest power source. And when you turn into an 80-win team or 90-win team, Richie, you got to have better players than that. I think Sawinski has a place on this team, but he can't be a focal point.
All right, let's go out to Joe in North for Sales. How you doing, Joe?
Well, you guys have hit on a lot of the points. You know, we want to see the Pirates contend as soon as next year. But hasn't Bob Nutting said that? And wouldn't he have the most to say about that? I'm going to state the obvious. Even in those 3 years that they won, it was about run prevention. They weren't a great hitting team. They were a decent hitting team. Even look at this last stretch here. They've hit a little bit better, but they're giving up about 6 runs a game. It's really hard to win. And they somehow are 5-7 in their last 12 games when the hitting is picked up. So, I think Andrew touched on it already, and I'd like to hear more about what you think makes the team a contender.
Well, it's about run production now, not prevention, because they don't have the pitching, obviously, right? I mean, they need hitters. They need to find a first baseman here in the future, in the next year, right? They need to address certain situations. They need 1 or 2 good starting pitchers, and then I think they'll be in good shape and be a potential wild card contender.
Yeah, I think that the middle infield is a big question mark too now. Okay, so you're gonna need to go out in free agency.
Well, not if O'Neal Cruz comes back, right? I mean, hopefully he comes back healthy,
no doubt.
right?
I mean, 100. Yeah, I'm talking about second base. Who plays there? Nick Gonzalez came up and is another one of these first-round picks who was good for about a week and then cooled off considerably to the point where they were left no choice but to send him down. Peguero is hit or miss.
After potentially another 100-loss season, and we're talking about these guys that we're hoping will be stars in a couple years. I was hoping 2024 they'd be competing for a wild card. I think that's a little optimistic now after seeing what's happening and what some of these guys are doing.
They seem a year behind schedule.
Now,
I think
earlier they were a year ahead.
Right. I thought that they were going to finish with about 78 or 79 wins. And then you could say, okay, we can go from that number to 85 or 86 next year and compete for the NL Central crown in a playoff spot. Now, instead, it looks like you're going to finish with 71 or 72 wins, and next year is going to be about finishing close to 500, Richie.
All right, we got to take a break. Back with more of your phone calls coming up next. Stay right there.